Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail Grace, or Abby if you're new, and today we're doing my March reading wrap up. I've done this for months now, like it's my monthly tradition at the end of the month to talk about what I read the previous month. The last 2 months I have included a section on the fan fictions that I've been reading because I've been counting them separately than the published books. I read 10 full-length fan fictions this month. So I'm basically just gonna really quickly, and I mean really quickly, say what they are and what I rated them, and because I know most of you probably don't care. If you do care, I might make a whole Hermione fanfiction video, but only if that's something that people care about. The first fanfiction is Love and Other Historical Accidents. I ended up giving that one 4.5 stars. It's kind of like a Pride and Prejudice, time travel fanfiction. The premise sounds weird, but it was really good. Next, I read The Best Mistake, and I ended up giving that one 3.5 stars. It's an accidental pregnancy, and I love accidental pregnancy. Then I read Pros and Cons, which is also an accidental pregnancy. I gave that one 3. It was not as good as The Best Mistake, but so good, lighthearted, sweet. Then I read Love Fool, which that was 5 stars. It's like a When Harry Met Sally inspired fanfiction where they're friends for years. It's told over 10 years. It was really, really good. And also not super heavy. So those first 4 that I read were kind of lighthearted. Secrets and Masks, not lighthearted. That was the next one I read. Granted, I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing, but it is dark. It's gory, it's bloody, there's torturing, please read trigger warnings before you get into it. It's also very long. And it's devastating. I'll insert a clip here. Me sobbing while finishing Secrets and Masks. I read that on my vacation to Colorado with my family, so if you want to watch that vlog, it's linked. But either way, 5 stars. Next, I read Amor Vincent Omnia, and this is a Hogwarts secret relationship fanfiction. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was good, and there was lots of Ron bashing in this one, and I love Ron bashing. Next, I read Sugar and Spice, which is a Draco, Theo, and Hermione triad situation, and it's a Hogwarts 8th year fanfiction. I gave this one 3.75. It was good. It was my first not strictly Draco and Hermione fanfiction. And if you're looking to read Theo Hermione, I would recommend. Next I read Meet Your Match, and this was 4.5 stars. It's Draco has these Muggle friends, and it turns out that the Muggles that he's friends with are childhood friends of Hermione, and they try and set the 2 of them up, not realizing that they know each other from school. And it's really sweet how they care for each other. I really liked it. Next, I read Wait and Hope. This is a amnesia situation where Hermione is in a accident at work, and she wakes up and the last 6 years of her memory are gone. She thinks that she's still dating Ron, but she's actually been married to Draco. The last she remembers, her and Draco were not friends, they were not dating, they did not get along, and so it's her figuring out what to do since she's lost her memories. I gave Wait and Hope 4.25. And then I'm like 70% through The Black Rose, which is another Drathio Miney one. I'll talk about it next month, but so far so good. Okay, those are my fan fictions. I tried to speed through them if you didn't care. But it was a heavy fan fiction month for me. Now we'll get into the actual books that I read. Not that those aren't actual books, because some of them are quite intense. I started out the month reading Thus With a Kiss I Die, which was an arc for A Daughter of Fair Verona, which is kind of a like retelling, reimagining, or like continuation of Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. It follows Romeo and Juliet's oldest daughter, Rosalind. And it's also kind of like a murder mystery. She's trying to solve this murder. She's betrothed to someone who she's not in love with. It's really good. It's definitely YA, but I'm obsessed. I love the story. The first one was really good. And the second one, Thus With a Kiss I Die, when it comes out, going to be amazing as well. I ended up giving this one 4.75. Next, I read Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This was the final book in the no, it's not the final book. It's the third book in the Rose Hill series. There's one more coming out later this year, but this is Marriage of Convenience, and it's also, all of the books in the series are single dad, and the main guy, Reese, he is a wrestler. He wrestles for the WWE, and his name is Wildside, hence the name of the book being Wildside. He gets custody of Tabitha, the main girl of the book's nephew. So Tabitha's sister dies and leaves custody of her son to Reese, but Tabitha thinks that she should have custody. So as like a compromise, Tabitha and Reese decide to get married so that he can get a green card and basically come and go from Canada as he wants because he's American. And that way he can come and visit the boy. I can't remember what the little boy's name is. Come and visit without worrying about his like visa situation, and that way she can make custody decisions because she's married to his legal guardian. I ended up giving this one 3.5. I think it was my least favorite in this Rose Hill series. I don't know. I just don't love wrestling. Not that that was a reason to give it 3.5, but it just wasn't amazing. So I'm excited for the next one. It's going to be ex-boyfriend's dad. Major age gap, which I love. Next, I read The Endless War. I also read this in my Colorado vlog, so if you want to see me talk about it a lot more in detail, go to that video. But this is the fourth installment of the Bridge Kingdom series, and there's actually 2 more in the series. They're getting republished with different covers, but I love the old ones, so I bought the old ones. But this is basically, the first 2 books of the series cover one couple, and the third and fourth cover a different couple, and this one is about Karis and Zara. And I really can't tell you a ton without spoiling the series. It's a very good series, but basically Zara is in prison. She's been like sentenced to as a traitor to prison, and Karis is determined to break her out, but Karis is the king of the rival kingdom, and she is the heir apparent to the empress of her kingdom. So they're basically at war. They're rivals, and so a relationship between them is forbidden. I'm gonna call this fantasy, even though there's not really any magic. It's just fantastical. And I gave this one 4.75. It was really good. Next, I listened to Just Some Stupid Love Story by Caitlin Doyle. This is about it's a second chance romance. It's two people who dated in high school. She broke up with him and basically broke his heart. They meet 10 years later at their 10-year high school reunion again and make a bet basically between the two of them that he believes in soulmates and she does not. And so the thing is, they're going to decide the fate of 5 couples, and if they can accurately predict the outcome of those relationships, then they have to admit to the other if soulmates exist or not. So they make the bet, and the last couple that they bet on is themselves. And he says, "You'll be my date to the 15th high school reunion," and she says, "No way." And it's Grumpy Sunshine, but it's reverse Grumpy Sunshine. I love a grumpy female lead and a sunshine male lead. It was really sweet. I gave it 3.5 stars. Also, it's dual POV, and the narrators of the audiobook, there's 2 different narrators, which I really appreciated. Next, I read Just a Heartbeat Away by Cara Bastone, and I was really just craving reading a book by her because Promise Me Sunshine came out this month, and I loved Promise Me Sunshine. When I read the ARC a few months ago, I gave it 5 stars. So I picked up Just a Heartbeat Away. It's a single dad. It's an age gap. I think it's like 12-year age gap. She was his preschool teacher. She's not the kid's teacher anymore because she's like a school counselor, but it's really sweet, and like it's set in Brooklyn. The setting's just like New York in the fall, and I really thought it was well done. I gave it 3.75 stars. Alexa, bedroom light white. Okay, that's better. It got a little dark. Next, I listened to The Switch by Beth O'Leary. Beth O'Leary actually has a book that came out today, a new one, but I've loved all of the books that I've read by Beth O'Leary, and this one is a grandmother and her granddaughter switch lives basically for 2 months. So the grandmother moves into her granddaughter's flat in London, and the daughter, she moves to wherever her grandma lives. It's like the countryside, and there's a little romance. It's basically her kind of like realizing accomplishments not everything, like the hustle and bustle is not the whole point of life, but also there's like some reconciliation between her and her mom because she had a sister that died, and it's made the relationship between her and her mom very strenuous, but it was really well done. And the narrator is Daisy Edgar Jones, so that was fun, and I gave it 4 stars. Next, I read Here's Looking at You by Mari McFarlane, and this is her second book, so it's old, but it follows Anna, who is basically like a ugly duckling story. Like, she was like fat and bullied in high school, and her like main bully she runs into later in life, but he doesn't recognize her because she's lost a bunch of weight and like she's pretty now. So she doesn't tell him who she is, and they like strike up a friendship, and then when it's revealed who she is, it like causes an issue in their relationship. But it was really good. Mari never misses, and she has a huge backlist. So if I don't know what to read, I'm always looking to see if she has a book, like the next book that I haven't read by her. So I gave this one 4 stars. I skipped over a book, sorry. But next I read The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. I also read this in Colorado. So if you want to hear me talk about that, go watch that video. But this is a like triad, a throuple, as you will. Similarly to my Drathio Miney fanfiction, but it follows Charlie and Will and Beckett. They are both hockey players, and they frequently have like threesomes, but they start seeing Charlie, and obviously it becomes something more. During all of this, Charlie is adopted, and she like is struggling with that a lot. They all have like family issues that they're working through. It's a thick boy. This was probably my least favorite in this like Briar U Legacy series. This was the last one. And of the three, this was my least favorite. It was still good. I always will love a hockey romance. I will always love Elle Kennedy, but this didn't hit quite as well as I wanted it to. I gave it 3.5 stars. Next, I read Dream Girl Drama. This is from the library, so I have to return it, but another hockey romance, and it's step siblings. I haven't uploaded my book club retreat video, but I read this in that video, so I give a lot of thoughts on how I felt about the step siblings in that, because my review on Fable was, at first I was scared. At first it was fun. Then I was scared. Then it was fun again. It's kind of how I felt during this. Like, the middle part was like, oh, like, are we really going to have a relationship between these two people? Like, they weren't step siblings yet because their parents hadn't gotten married, but it was like step siblings to be. So it was a little tough, but the other thing that wasn't my favorite was Chloe was so like annoying to me. She is like a spoiled rich girl, moves to the city, but Sig like does everything for her, and she doesn't realize that like she is not living like an adult. Like, she has no responsibility for herself, and it was quite frankly very frustrating. So I gave this one 3.5. It's Tessa Bailey. Like, usually her books are like a 3 to 4 for me. This kind of fell right in the middle of that. But the previous one, The Au Pair Affair, I really liked, and this one was just not it for me. Next, I read Caught Up by Liz Tomford, and this is the third in the Windy City series, and it's single dad and nanny, and there's like a 7 or 8 year age gap. She's a chef who's like taking the summer off to nanny for him, and her dad is his baseball coach. He plays baseball, and I think this was my first baseball romance, and I really, really liked it. Kai and Millie and Max, like, that's the little family. Max is the little boy, and Kai's the main guy, and Millie's the girl. I loved their relationship together. Like, Max was such a sweetheart, and Millie and Max were so sweet, and Kai was such a good dad. Like, his relationship with his son was just so good, and I gave this one 4.25. Next, I read Malibu Rising. I listened to Malibu Rising, and this was the last of the like Taylor Jenkins Read-a-verse of her like 4 like recent ones that are like all kind of connected, which would be Daisy Jones, Evelyn Hugo, Carrie Soto, and then Malibu Rising. And it follows these 4 siblings on the day of this like big party that they throw every year, but it's also dual timeline, so it also shows you their parents and their like young growing up years, and how we kind of get to the point that we're at now. They're estranged from their father, and this party is just like the culmination of like all these like reveals, and relationships between them all like come to a head at this one party, but like the sibling relationships are so good in this. I ended up giving it 3.75. I liked it. It was almost 4. It just took me quite a bit to get into it. And some of that is that because I was listening to it, I only listened in like 10-minute increments until I drove to Birmingham last weekend, which is a 3-hour drive. So I like finished it on the drive last weekend, and that was when I really got into it. I think it does a disservice to the book when I can only listen in short increments because I can't really get into it as much as I want to. So that's the reason probably why it was a little lower than it should have been, but it was still very good. And finally, Sunrise on the Reaping. This has like changed the Hunger Games universe for me. I think about everything totally different. I really want to reread the original trilogy and Songbirds and Snakes. Like 5 stars easily. Like Haymitch, like all the connections, the parallels. It was so good. Suzanne Collins has outdone herself. There's so many like theories and all these connections, so many TikTok videos, but it's Haymitch's Games. It's the 50th Hunger Games. There's twice the amount of tributes, and it's devastating, but also like so good. This was 5 stars, and I'm very glad to have finished the month with this. And those are all of the books that I read in March. So, thank you so much for watching. I tried to go through this kind of quickly. I did this much quicker than I usually do. Mostly because I flew through half of the books that I read, which were fan fictions. So, we'll see how next month goes. I won't stop reading fan fiction, but it might not be as much next month. So, thank you for watching, and obviously subscribe if you want to see more book content from me. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, which are always linked down below, to see more up-to-date reactions to what I'm reading. And I will see you somewhere else on the internet. Bye, guys.